World's greatest mind tweeted, yup, responding to the redheaded libertarian. This is the chick who works with Tim Pool. I'm pretty sure she's a Nazi, or at least she's a white nationalist for sure. All right, what is it?
Adult white males between the ages of, say, 18 and 25 to...
The economy sucks. You're probably never going to buy a house. Your degree is useless and left you in mountains of debt. You're nowhere near capable.
Okay. We're doing a speed debunk. All right, sure. Well, so far there's nothing to debunk, I guess. This has 11 likes. This really got signal boosted, huh? Also, why is this so large? Why is the UI for the TikTok video so much larger than it should be relative to the frame? Kind of weird.
Buy a house. Your degree is useless and left you in mountains of debt. You're nowhere near capable of providing for a wife and kids, and you can't imagine.
All right, implication here. Okay, you're nowhere near capable of providing for a wife and kids. That's true, right? I think one of the big issues, one of the reasons why economic decline tends to correspond to the radicalization of young men is because of the social expectation that men have to, like, okay, this has been said in a bunch of different forms lately by a bunch of different people, and it's so true that there's not really that much to do but say it. A lot of guys just kind of suck and don't have much to offer women except financial stability. And for most of history, at least recent history, that's what they got to do. They got to be the breadwinners. Women die in poverty unless they can secure a husband, right? So if you're a guy, like, if you have a job, congratulations. You've got it, you know? Women spend all this time trying to be appealing to other people because they're socialized into that, and, you know, God bless them for it. And a lot of guys are, I mean, let's be real here, disgusting, oafish buffoons who are unpleasant to be around. I'm sorry. I've gone to bars, I've flirted with guys. It's not just straight men either, okay? Sorry. Not all of you, but, like, man, good Lord. Not me, I'm built different. Good. A lot of men are built different. Good for you. Good for all of us. Everyone watching this right now is built different. Maybe the guy we're watching right now is too, I don't know. But it is an issue a lot of guys face. They can no longer just get a guaranteed partner by providing an income, so it makes them feel like something is being robbed of them. And to an extent, that is true because, you know, economic security is a problem, the lack thereof. But, you know, I also think it would be maybe nice if guys could just be interesting to women by being cool, you know? By being a cool guy. Is a part of it.
And kids, and you can't imagine yourself settling down with any of the women in your age bracket anyway, because Disney princess programming and feminism has left
there we go.
them fundamentally unwifeable.
Yeah, okay, if you as a guy are interacting with a bunch of women and you're going, feminism and Disney princess programming has left all these women unwifeable, then there it is. Like, that's probably the issue, right? Like, that your personality is blighted. I'm really sorry. Maybe this is like a regional thing because, like, I don't know, maybe like in the rural areas or the Midwest or some blighted, culturally dead places, this really is an issue. But the Disney princess phenomena, I don't think that, like, I remember that being made fun of over a decade ago. Like, I don't know. And by the way, why is this something we only talk about with women? Like, how many young men get raised on shonen isekai anime and then go on to be losers because of it? But we don't really talk as much about, like, you know, isekai incel programming or whatever. I feel like we're really quick to give a lot of cultural weight to like perceived negative trends of women. I don't know, man. Maybe it's because I'm older, or it's because I live in the West Coast or whatever. I haven't met a girl that I would describe as like Disney princess programmed in so long. And also, by the way, what does it mean for a person to be corrupted by both Disney princess programming and feminism? So you're telling me that, like, all women of this generation are both bought in on the idea that they should be, like, what is Disney princess programming? Do you mean like Snow White? That's not very feminist. What is that? I don't even know what this means anymore. When I was growing up, the whole, like, Disney princess girl was like the more traditional girl who wanted, like, a Disney princess wedding. Like, they wanted their Prince Charming and stuff. But that's not a feminist idea at all. If anything, that's just like the cultural normalization of chivalry. You know what I mean? So, like, how does that track with feminism? By feminism and Disney princess, do we mean like Moana or something? But what does it mean to be a Disney princess programmed person in that line? Like, feminism and Disney are teaching women to speak to water spirits? I don't even know what that means anymore. Like, yeah, being literate? I don't even know. I think he means all women break into song at random now. Oh, though that's true. I do hate it when women do that, yeah. That is very annoying. I don't know what Disney princess programming means. When I hear it, I think of like a kind of annoying, vapid trad girl who wants a big styled wedding but doesn't have many thoughts outside of that. But that's not feminist, so I don't know. I don't know. Let's continue. It's just I don't understand this juxtaposition of ideas.
Grown up in a culture which has celebrated every other form of identity besides you and in exact proportion to
What? Oh, because you're like a straight white male, so things are super, super hard because society celebrates everyone. Whiny. Whiny. Why are men like this? Whine, whine, whine. Honestly. Most divorced man, it's divorced behavior. Like, come on. It's so hard being a straight white man because society doesn't celebrate me. What does that mean? He loved McCree from Overwatch till they changed his name and made him gay or whatever. I don't know. It's just such a non-issue, you know? Like, the economic stuff is real, but then it's like society celebrates other people. What do you mean? There's, I promise you, there's plenty of white heterosexual representation out there, okay? Men do, in fact, still exist. I don't know. Go watch Dune. Dune is the story of a quirked up heterosexual white boy rising to power. There, that's the big blockbuster. It's going to sweep the Oscars. It's about a straight white man. That's true. Is that wrong? Am I wrong? Then he kills 1 trillion and quirked up. I said quirked up. Isn't he too twinky for them though? Well, if you read far enough in the books, you know, he doesn't see, you know, twink death comes from Vaush. Yes, he's explicitly the villain. Who gives a wait? Who cares about if you're a villain protagonist? What? Whatever. Paul might be bi. Can you just roll with the punches here? Good Lord, guys.
how much they're not you, to the point that now schools and companies can hire based on that metric, all the while being told.
I've still never heard a conservative explain what DEI actually means. Hire based on that metric? Like, what do you mean by that? You know? You would think if this was the case that, like, we'd be experiencing record white unemployment relative to the other races, but weirdly, that hasn't actually been the case, you know? It makes you wonder how much of this is a real problem. It means the N-word. I know it means the N-word. I'm being facetious.
Told you can't complain or notice any of it because of how privileged you are, and if you don't know how privileged you are, it's because of your privilege. Even though you're
That is often how it works, yeah. But also complain about what? Is he suggesting that as a white guy, presumably straight, he's not allowed to complain about the economy? I think he just has to substantiate his complaints, you know? Like you can't just complain about how every identity but you is celebrated, because that doesn't mean anything. It's a completely arbitrary and baseless complaint. You have to, like, substantiate it in some way. You know, people don't have to listen and care about your complaints just because you make them. You have to make good complaints. I like the economic stuff, but the rest of it is just like whiny soy bitch. Why is society so hard for white men stuff? Come on, build it up.
even though you're basically a debt slave with minimal hope of a financial and familial future because your economy and culture has abandoned you.
Okay. See, this is like the dog whistling stuff, okay? We do live in a debt economy. Do you think that only applies to white people? Your economy and culture is abandoning you. Culture? What does that mean? Does living in a debt economy depend on your culture? What's the relationship between these? Do you think that, like, black people and Chinese people don't live in a debt economy? Genuinely, I'm pretty sure this guy is some kind of, like, dumb radicalized, like, white nationalist Nazi or whatever, but it's hard to tell because conservatives are stupid, so they borrow dog whistles they don't even know the meaning of in a lot of cases. They don't even know, like, a lot of them just, like, you know, they're not even aware. But this is what I mean about, like, the empty whinging, because there are, like, if you have complaints about what feminism has done to women, okay, like, we can argue that. But when it's all so vague and whiny that it doesn't mean anything, there's not much to do but make fun of it. Like, when you're reducing criticism of the debt economy to they've abandoned our culture, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. You're just saying words.
Future because your economy and culture has abandoned you. So a lot of dudes just checked out and started, like, smoking weed and playing video games. Some of the other ones.
Damn. By the way, quick pointer. The fact that society has left you behind, meaning that you're checked out and smoking weed and playing video games, this is what a lot of conservatives would call black culture, and they blame black people for their own economic deprivation on account of it. You know, the conservative line for any black man talking this way, this would be a left-leaning argument from their perspective. A black man would say, yeah, man, who gives a shit? Like, you know, there's racism. We're subject to constant abuse and discrimination. Who cares? I'm going to smoke weed and play video games. And every white conservative watching it would go, now this is the problem with black culture, you know? It's you know, it's just a bit of a double standard there, to be fair.
Some of the other ones went to countries where they like white people and men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, this guy's probably a Nazi. Where they like white people and men. They hate white people and men over here in America. That's so true. What would that be? Are we talking about those like passport bros who go over to Romania because they think they're going to get some stunning blonde babe, and then they just go over there and there's some creepy like Western expat or whatever? Japan? Yeah, this is a libertarian guys with Asian wives advertisement post. I hate passport bros so much I want them all gone. Do you have any idea how much of a self-report it is to be so unfuckable you literally have to leave your country to get pussy? Like, I don't know, it feels like a massive concession to every negative thing anyone could ever accuse you of being. For it to literally have to be like, I must flee my nation, you know? It's wild.
Like Thailand, I guess.
Okay. I was being charitable to this guy and assuming that he meant like, I don't know, some Eastern European country, not the literal #1 destination of pedophiles and sexpats from the West. Okay, yeah, okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah. Literally the country most known for this. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Some of them are like, you know what, this is a good challenge. None of it makes sense. It's all going to shit. But I want a big house, and if you come on my land, I'm going to shoot you with guns. I want a bunch of kids and a wife churning butter. I'm going to make it happen. You tell me.
Adult.
Wait, did he like have a schizo breakdown at the end there? What was that? Wait, you're gonna move to Thailand and have a big house and shoot people on your land? Can you do that in Thailand? Wait, that didn't make any sense. I thought he was talking about where he was in Thailand. Is he gonna churn butter in Thailand? I don't know what gun rights are like in Thailand. It would surprise me if you could just live in a big house and shoot people that come on your land, though.
Thailand, I guess. And some of them are like, you know what, this is a good challenge. None of it makes sense. It's
also, by the way, like, leaving aside the schizo meltdown at the end there, you don't want a big house and a wife that churns butter. You want to smoke weed and play video games. That's why you do that. You're not like a homesteader looking for a chance, because if you wanted to be one, you could. You can get really cheap property in the Midwest for like nothing. You can get big houses in states that have very permissive gun laws for basically nothing if you want. America is a big country. You don't want to do that because you are, let's be real here, a porn addict. You're a video game addict. You're a weed addict. You like all the modern amenities. You just aestheticize the idea of being some kind of homesteader with a wife and a bunch of kids because you want a submissive woman to do what you say. That's the only part of that fantasy that you care about. The idea of fulfilling your like masculine purpose by controlling a woman and having a bunch of kids and blah blah. But you're never going to have those things because you don't want them. If you wanted them, you could get that. You could get a decent income in like a big city, save up, then go over to some like shithole town with 3,000 people in the middle of nowhere, buy up like a 4-bedroom house that you'll pay down in no time, get some local job. They need people out there, by the way, so you will find a job. The market's pretty good right now for finding jobs, especially in areas that are building out, okay? And then you could just find a wife. You could. Yeah, I promise you could. This guy's not bad looking, right? Like, yeah, you know, he could do fine, but he doesn't want those things. What he wants to do is jerk off to hentai and complain that, like, the women don't like him, you know? We could synthesize this. We could solve these problems, but you can't solve problems until you identify what those problems are. And the problem here is that you're and you're whining about it, but it's like a forced error. Like you're making yourself uncomfortable with the attitude, right? I really like this video. I like that it got huge through Elon quote tweeting it with yup, 200K likes. Love that. Because it's so perfectly representative of how empty whining is the heart and soul of reactionary politics. There are so many straight women that love men like this dude. It's just this guy isn't even trying. Yeah, you could. It's not even a matter of like being reactionary, because there are women who like reactionary guys. You know, it's like you can be a shitty, like a possessive, controlling guy and still get a girlfriend. But like the whining, we're checking out video games and weed, gonna go to Thailand where they like white men. You're a whiner. And reactionary women who want to be treated like property probably don't like whiners. You can't be a homesteader because the people who did homesteading were tougher than you. Sort yourself out. Clean your room. Clean your room, bucko. Manage your finances. Wash your balls. They want the traditional masculinity without the stoicism. Yeah, I don't think that a lot of them don't seem to realize that a huge portion of traditional masculinity is being miserable and keeping it packed inside because there's no socially acceptable outlet for your negative feelings. Sorry, it's a part and parcel kind of issue. You can't, in the same like breath, whine about not getting to do that homestead traditional patriarch shit, while also unironically arguing that, yeah, man, we're gonna check out and move to a country that really likes white men, Thailand. Like, do you realize men like that would have been made fun of back then too? Like, even back in the 1800s, there probably were guys who were like, "Oh, the wenches of this era are unsuited to the attentions of a proper gentleman. I will go where white men are really appreciated, the Orient." And what you actually mean is you're going to like find opium dens full of 12-year-olds, and like with the equivalent of 1 cent in the West, like you'll just buy up all the sexual attention you want, you know? Like, do you think those men would have been well regarded back in their time? Probably not. I feel like they would have been made fun of. What's the obsession with shooting people in their property? Black people. They mean black people. Whenever a conservative says like gun rights, I want to be able to shoot people on my property, blah, blah, they're thinking of the BLM protests. They're thinking of black people storming their building. They fantasize about shooting them. That's it. It's literally it. That's it. Or Latino. No, they mean black people. There are a lot of things that like get culturally placed on like Mexicans or Latin people or whatever. But when it comes to like the shooting robbers on the property, that is very much something directed at black populations. So in your mind, nobody is allowed to shoot home intruders. How can you be taken seriously? What the are you talking about, Gandalvin? You can shoot home intruders in every state in the Union. What are you talking about? You can find 18th century English comic-like pamphlets that are insanely racist about men that go to Jamaica to manage a plantation and get a slave mistress. Yeah, I'm sure those guys were very well regarded by their contemporaries. Remember when a black teenager knocked at a door and got shot? I do remember that. Yes. You said whenever someone talks about shooting home intruders, they are bad faith. I said when conservatives talk about or like eulogize or stress the importance of shooting people on their property, I said they're racist, not that they're acting in bad faith. And yeah, that's true. Do you know how little of your life is shooting people who come in your property? You understand how little, like we're talking about lightning strikes here. But if you listen to conservatives, it sounds like this is something that happens 5 times a day, you know? They fantasize about it 5 times a day. But anytime you see like conservatives that are dressed up to the nines with 50 pistols in their belt going to their local Walmart to buy up more, you know, like toilet paper or whatever, like all of this shit is racial anxiety, you know, that's it. And you can see it clearly in the language they employ. This like constant terror of being like attacked, your home being attacked, statistical likelihood of this, of course, being marginal at best. It all ramped right up during the BLM protests, you know, massive increase in all of that. And it's because a lot of them just are terrified of like black youth storming their property or whatever, a very real concern that really happens all the time, you know. They should just play with airsoft guns instead. Airsoft guns still hurt, you know, they sting. It all comes back to sexual insecurity. Yeah, always. All right. Fun link. Have there been any consequences to Elon openly Nazi posting? I mean, basically all of the advertisers have fled Twitter. So there's been a financial consequence. More and more, he kind of gets made fun of in the broader media. Opinion on Elon has shifted to the negative a lot. It's just difficult to see that if you're only on Twitter because he's signal boosting and like promoting the accounts of all the people who like him, you know? Yeah, he loses his court cases. He gets made fun of. He gets like, maligned in general media. He's lost his advertisers. Seriously, like massive negative consequences to his behavior. Aren't you tired of endlessly rehashing the same process d'intention, liberally ascribing petty thoughts to denigrate again and again and again? I'm not sure what you mean, Enso. Liberally ascribing petty thoughts to denigrate again and again and again. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Ameliorate. He just seems to be crumbling so slowly. I'd say by the standard of billionaires, of people who had his kind of popular reputation, it's gone down pretty quickly. You know? Yes, and the tech cult of personality around him has gone down quite a bit as well. Have you noticed how little positive press you've heard about the Cybertruck? If he had released the Cybertruck 5 years ago, it would have been like the biggest thing since, sliced bread. I mean, everyone would have been jerking it off, no matter how bad it was. But now, even the tech YouTube channels that normally jerk him off nonstop, I've seen them like, have you seen all those YouTube videos where it's like, we tried out the Cybertruck and oh boy. And like, if you actually watch it, it's like the whole video is them going like, okay, these bad things happened, but it's pretty good. Like it's getting increasingly difficult to defend Elon Musk from any perspective, really. Even the dedicated Tesla dick riding forums have been ragging on the Cybertruck. Yeah, it's pretty funny. The mandate of heaven, lost. Yep, my right-wing 4chan poison brother makes fun of him now. Well, that's good. Trans Day of Visibility is on Easter this year. Do we have like 50 trans days of visibility? I feel like every day of trans visibility, like I feel like it happens every month. Does it just keep happening? Is there more than one? I mean, you act as if you actually have a privileged insight into your political enemy's personal motivations. Anselm, you're misunderstanding my criticism. If a person's politics are motivated by sexual insecurity, most often they're not aware of that. In fact, almost often they're not. Conservatism is defined in large part by a lack of introspection. Reactionary politics are usually the politicized externalization of internal problems. Now, to an extent, that's the case for everyone, but not having any kind of self-awareness makes it a lot harder to trace the source, so to speak. You know, like a lot of left-wing politics are also an externalization of internal insecurities. But if your external political, like, drive is something like free healthcare for all, what's your internal insecurity? I don't know. A worry about not having healthcare, I imagine. Like, pretty straightforward, right? There are rational reasons to believe those things. You know, you don't need some kind of complicated emotional block that you're working through or not working through to have that position. But if you take all the positions right-wingers have, and it's a big, big, big bunch of them, and a lot of them are mutually exclusive, but whatever, it's not like they understand them very well anyway. Very often it is the product of some like deeply held emotional bias or insecurity, almost always sexual. It's not a matter of intent at all. If it was a matter of intent, that would be quite a bit more sad. Bro, do you think Pascal or Should Brown lacked interest? What are you on about? Wait, hold on. Are you like a character? Oh, you're absolutely a character. Oh, you're a Nazi. You were seething during the goddamn Euroid talk earlier. Of course the northern Italians would take issue with the barbarous skin tone of the... get out of here, you goober. Sorry, I'm enforcing my own VGG ethno-state, okay? No sub-70 IQ individuals here. You think name-dropping Pascal makes you sound intelligent when you're missing the point as badly as you did? Jesus Christ. Can we keep him as a pet, please? I think sometimes it's fun to keep them as a pet, but the pretentious ones do bother me a little bit. It makes me want to, like, grab them by the head and shake them, go like, what's wrong with you, you know? There are fun ones and there are not fun ones. His name is after an Archbishop of Canterbury. Oh, embarrassing. From him, meanwhile, blacks commit 60% of murders. That's not true, actually. Black people actually commit 99.99.9999. This guy's been corrupted, by the media. Doesn't even know the real truth, honestly. Can you imagine? The next one will be better than the last. Yes, the next one will be better than the last. I agree. Can you expand in your argument that it's sexual insecurity? I've talked about this a lot, but like, we literally just saw it with that guy, the video that Elon quote tweeted. It's literally like that over and over. These guys have all these weird, like, mutually contradictory. So they have issues with the economy. What are their solutions to these economic problems? They don't know and they don't want to talk about it. They have issues with immigration, even though immigration improves the economy and generally makes it easier to find good jobs. And the data backs this up consistently. Why? Why? And then they have a bunch of weird racialized positions. They think that everyone hates straight white men, even though this is empirically incorrect. You would have to have a persecution complex to believe this. And then you see what actually gets them going every single time, and it's that they're not breeding. That's it. Seriously. Like every time you hear one of these big self-righteous white nationalist spiels about how culture has been taken from them, it always comes back to they're not breeding. It's sexual insecurity, and loneliness has almost always been the source of reactionary politics from men. It's almost always where it comes from, Seriously, you can consistently derive this from any kind of historical analysis. It's always this feeling of like civilization lost, give to us what we are, deserving of, and what they are deserving of in a lot of cases. It's just they want a trad wife, they're lonely. Over and over and over again. It's boring and it happens constantly, but it's how it is. Very unintrospective. Gen Z men are worse on feminism than the boomers. Well, there's a difference between, I don't like it when polls use the word feminism. I prefer it when polls ask about people's ideas, because feminism, like the term feminism hasn't, it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Ask them, maybe we'll find out what's wrong with them. Ask who? What? SPLC director celebrates declining percentage of white ethnicity in America. White genocide more imminent than trans genocide. Who says no? Gandelvin, you too? You're seriously using that SPLC like post-it note with the percentage of white people in America? This is like a years old point. one guy is saying he wants a more diverse country. This is like a genocide. Come on, you guys are boring. Somebody emailed me today saying they want me to show me more. Look at this fat boy. Also, if you want more evidence to the fact that sexual insecurity motivates the behavior of most of these people, note that when I pointed that out, 2 people in chat who are both Nazis or at least white nationalists responded by evading the point. To my mind, proving it. The last thing that people who are sort of projecting unrealized or unnoticed internal biases want is for you to just directly point out the bias. So instead they have to go, no, it's this or that. If they were aware of it and capable of reconciling it, you'd think they'd try to attack the actual point, They would say something to the effect of, it's not that, it's this, rather than like, did you know that 50 billion years ago, one guy said that, he likes seeing America be diverse? White genocide, Look at their stereotypes of black men versus white men in porn. Oh my God, go to 4chan and see the relationship between racists and black on white cuckold interracial porn. It's just it's insane, dude. It's everywhere. Do you have any idea? Like, it's the correlation here. It's like 1-to-1 Venn diagram overlap, Left-leaning people are not the ones going out there on the the hentai sites or Grindr or whatever the else, fetishizing like big black cock or whatever. It's the right-wingers every time. Most porn on 4chan is trans and racial porn because both speak to different levels of insecurity in the right-wing mind. Yeah, isn't younger porn more popular in the southern states? I know that trans and interracial porn is. Was Adolf Hitler sexually insecure? Isn't there literally historical writing on him having a bunch of sexual hangups? Am I off on that? Did that not literally? Is that not like a known thing? Wasn't he creeping on his cousin or something? Yeah, something like that. Didn't have any kids, sexual weirdo. Yeah, perfect fit for his community. Are white women insecure about Asian women being more feminine than them? No, I have never in my life, not a single time, not once, ever heard a white woman say anything to that effect. White men love to threaten white women with like the presumed superior femininity of Asian women, a strategy which I have yet to see pay off for anyone ever. I've never seen anyone become more sexually successful with some kind of like red pill like flanking maneuver where they're like, Asian women are uncorrupted by feminism, therefore. On a dating app, one time a guy told me on the 3rd message that cuckoldry is validated by the Bible and he's the opposite of racist for allowing a black guy to be with his potential wife. So at least he didn't wait long to let the weird out lol. Yeah, it's pretty common, man. It's pretty weird. In a 1943 report, describes Hitler as having repressed homosexual tendencies and opened up that he was an impotent corpophile or had a scat fetish. I've heard of that. I don't know if that's actually true. That could be like war propaganda. Are you saying then the threat of sex bots replacing women coming in the future doesn't make women scared and want to have sex with you immediately? Yeah, you notice that guys do this pretty often, right? The right-wing, red pill, whatever community is always doing that with some other group. Oh, did you know Asian women are more feminine? Did you know that robot women actually will replace real women because robot women don't nag and aren't feminists or whatever? And what does this lead to? Nothing. It's just something for very insecure, very miserable men to cackle over while doing nothing to improve their own lives. It's a self-destruction cult. Women don't want to f the kind of guys that'll f robots anyway, dude. Yeah, no, exactly. I think men are more susceptible to being replaced by robots. I think this is one of the things that really, really, really drives home the self-hatred in a lot of these right-wing guys, is they're fully aware of the fact that they don't have much to offer a woman except for the promise of economic stability, and they know that if it wasn't for the fact that, like, in a lot of cases, women do need the income of a man, or at least they used to, but no longer, that a lot of women would rather just be single. The understanding that like a lot of women actually would probably take a vibrator and a paycheck every month over having them as a husband. I think that really eats away at them. There is a solution to this, of course, and the solution is just be likable. Skill issue, just be a likable person. The same thing that you would do to make friends. But a lot of guys just can't do this. And they make whole political movements out of not being able to do this. They will make like evolutionary psychology arguments out of how you can't be friends with women as a man. You can only be their captain or their leader. They'll talk about how feminism has destroyed the ability for men and women to get along, or how men and women shouldn't be together in the workplace. That was a Jordan Peterson bit, They make entire like political ideologies oriented around ways to post hoc explain or justify why they feel they shouldn't have to be friends with women. You want to be friends with women even if you're them, right? I think you should be friends with your wife, I think, in my personal opinion, but a lot of them would actually disagree. They think that being friends with a woman is a kind of emasculation. It's like you're denigrating yourself because being a friend means being an equal, and they don't think they should be equals to women. It's no surprise they're unlovable, you know? Lily the Gaylord PhD, I don't think Maoists are Stalinists or left-wing. Leftist, I suppose. Maoists are insane when it comes to sex. Like, as far as I can tell, half of the Maoists on Twitter are actual volcels. So I don't know. I can't really speak to their weird shit, you know? What's a voluntary celibate? Like they say you shouldn't for the revolution or something. I don't know. They're insane. Yeah, Killjoy 40K. Anybody who complains about women having high standards has never met a woman. I'm really sorry. Women are... Okay. Women are willing to overlook quite a bit if you can make them laugh and feel special, which I think is the case for a lot of people. But like the idea that on average women, it depends on what woman you're talking to, I guess. Like if you're exclusively talking to like 20 somethings at a bar or whatever, like I don't know. What market are you going for here? You know? But women are, generally speaking, I think a lot less shallow than men are. And, when you're complaining about women being too shallow, I just don't understand what experiences you're having. It's kind of a self-report, you know? Striking out sometimes is part of life. You can be a handsome, charismatic guy and strike out sometimes. It's not the end of you. You're not going to die. It's just how it is, you know? That's life. It's with everything. All of life is like this to some extent. You try, sometimes you fail. That's life, you know? They make a whole thing of it. What are your thoughts that female social cues are too subtle for men to get? I think a lot of this is stupid heterosexual nonsense. I reject all of this, okay? If you like a girl, tell her you like her. If she says, oh, great, and reciprocates, you're in. If she doesn't, then you're out. That's it. Simple. If she wants to do some time-wasting, tweedle the hair in a way to signal interest, then fuck her. Or, well, don't, actually. Just move on. Whatever. I don't care. Ignore this nonsense. If women are like that, don't reward it with you. And I don't think women are even like that often, by the way. I think for the most part, if you're direct with women, they're fine with that. If they want to do some coquettish back and forth bullshit, keep in mind, the reason a lot of the women do that, you know, to the extent that women actually do this, okay, is because they know that guys will think less of them if they're easy or too direct or whatever. So if you're going to be one of those guys who gets mad at women for not being direct, but then if a woman is direct, you call her a whore for it, you kind of earn your own hell, basically. Yeah, well, men are terrible, Senator Armstrong. What are you going to do? I was saying men struggle with the high standards of women, just need a man with personality. I was jabbing at guys who are like, women only date guys with six-figure salaries and are over 6 feet. The cope you see in these incel forums is insane, by the way. Do you know there are people online who legitimately think that women will only date guys who have six-packs? Do you know how few men have six-packs? Are you insane? Are you a, 17-year-old in high school who recently lost a girl to, a football player? What are you talking about? Are you kidding? Once you get past there are people who are just skinny genetically, I guess, but past a certain point, very, 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 very few men have six-packs. I grew up in LA, which has, I assume, a high percentage of people who have six-packs, and still few men have six-packs. And then not even to speak of being 6 foot and making a six-figure salary. Are you insane? Insane. Ridiculous. Honestly, they'll just say any old shit.